Listen, there are a lot of things happening with Social Security right now, and based off of the recent developments, basically, some of the numbers that we have seen specifically with people who are absolutely ancient. We're talking about people that obviously were like neighbors to George Washington, people that fought in the civil kerfuffle, let's call it, guys, right? Still receiving some type of Social Security benefits before Social Security even existed. Listen, there are a lot of things that are out here crazy, and apparently people are now saying that some of them are placeholders. Like, these are not real things. They're just placeholders, allegedly, guys. Right? I don't trust anything until I see it. And unfortunately, I don't have the capability, nor do I have the power, let's say, to actually see this information. And I'm actually also not sure that I would even like to see that information, because that's privileged, right? But let's go ahead and check this video out immediately, guys. Elon Musk makes stunning discovery in Social Security database. Let's see what else they found, guys. This is a suggestion via a channel member.
DOGE is on the move. Up next at the IRS and our gold reserves.
Okay, Fort Knox.
I've been trying to go down and see the gold.
It's empty.
Make sure it's all there for about 10 years. I think the more sunlight, the better. More transparency, the better.
With DOGE continuing its search for wasteful spending, Democrats insist on putting up roadblocks. Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeting this: "Good news. After we raised the alarm, DOGE has been blocked from accessing sensitive Department of Education data. Your Social Security number, income data, and personal information are safe for now.
Okay.
We will keep fighting back."
Yeah, listen, I hear you, Elizabeth Warren. Like, keep this in mind. With all of the actual states who volunteered the information, look at all of the absolute corruption that we have actually found within the Social Security Department with just the states that volunteered the information, basically. Imagine if we actually had the entirety of the nation complying with the actual federal government. These are a lot of un-American people, guys. This is the weirdest thing in the world. Are we a singular union, or are we separate nation states adhering to our own separate state constitutions? Which one is it, guys?
But Utah Senator Mike Lee just was not having it. He responded, "You literally passed a law giving IRS visibility into Venmo payments, and now you're all about privacy, but only for DOGE because it's trying to weed out waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer funds."
Right.
And are the vampires living amongst us? Because Elon Musk, taking a peek into Social Security, apparently over 20 million recipients are listed as being above the age of 100, with one being listed between the ages of 360 and 369 years old. I would like to eat what that person is eating.
I want to know that too.
A judge is ordering an extension on the temporary block of Musk's access to the Government Efficiency Department. I guess musician Sheryl Crow would be happy with all of these roadblocks because the Grammy winner, she sold her Tesla. She donated the money to NPR in protest of Elon Musk.
Yeah, but you bought the Tesla, okay? You bought it. So it doesn't matter. Like, there's this thing that happens online where people kind of forget that they are buying the product just to protest with the product. But bro, you already gave him his money. He doesn't care what you do with it next. All right? Like, the first purchaser is the only one that matters to the company. All right. Are you confused by that, Sheryl Crow? That's weird.
I'm sure that's the best use of her money. Welcome to the second hour of the Big Money Show. I'm Jackie DeAngelis, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Taylor Riggs, Dagan McDowell, Jeff Flock, in for Brian Brunberg, and O'Leary Ventures Chairman Kevin O'Leary is sticking around for another jam-packed hour. We're going to begin on Capitol Hill with the latest DOGE moves. Hillary Vaughn has them for us. Hi, Hillary.
Hi, Jackie. Well, there is a concern that DOGE is getting access to sensitive information at the IRS, but this is something that people at the IRS have access to every single day to do their job. So the people who are protesting are really mad that DOGE is the one who's getting to look under the hood. The White House has insisted that anyone viewing anything sensitive or classified or private has the clearance and appropriate approval to do so. A White House official says that direct access to what's called the Integrated Data Retrieval System, which includes visual access to taxpayer accounts, is needed to audit the IRS, something that IRS workers do every day to Americans. The IRS is also not immune from downsizing. AP reports they will lay off thousands of IRS workers who have been in the probation period of their employment, with cuts happening as soon as next week.
Yeah, guys, I'm definitely on team fire every single IRS agent. I'm on the team. Find them and fire them wherever they're hiding. Fire them all, guys. All right, but that's just me. Just strongly hate, paying taxes. for them to be wasted.
People work very hard to pay their taxes every single day. They're hurting. They see wasteful government spending.
Yep.
We need to have government in the sunshine. We need to have spending in the sunshine.
In addition to finding fraud, DOGE is discovering lost taxpayer cash. DOGE helping the Department of Housing and Urban Development relocate $1.9 billion that had gone missing under Biden. That's nearly $2 billion that they say the Treasury can now use for other things. DOGE has also been digging into Social Security. Elon Musk estimating there are about 60 million more Social Security numbers issued than there are Americans, saying, quote, there are far more eligible Social Security numbers than there are citizens in the USA. This might be the biggest fraud in history, but Democrats say DOGE is exaggerating all this fraud they're finding.
Yeah, they are literally saying that. Like, that's all I see on my Facebook, and my Facebook is full of a whole bunch of rabid Democrats.
These are, by and large, performative, theatric measures. They'll pick these, one-off cases, and they'll say this is broad policy. This is what an entire department or agency does or represents, and it's just not true.
Musk also found that there's over 4 million people in the Social Security database who have an age over 140 years old. The oldest person alive right now in the world is 116 years old. So this is either a smoking gun for fraud, or as Elon Musk joked, vampires could be real. Jackie?
They just might be. Hillary Vaughn, thank you so much. Meantime, there's more money set to come back to taxpayers across this country, but how soon until the left starts screaming about the D.C. housing market and unemployment numbers that are spiking? The median home value dropped 20%.
Guys, there's a reason why the DC market is massively falling. All right, so you have a lot of people who are basically hired in Washington, D.C. as almost exclusively bloat, guys. They have purchased properties. They realize that they're probably not going to have their job much longer because they are literally there doing nothing but bloating the system, basically. And so the DC housing market is absolutely crashing. In fact, you can go there and buy a couple properties if that's your thing, but I wouldn't. But either way.
Since November, and unemployment in D.C. for the week ending February 8th, the jobless filings were up 36% from the week prior. One more thing I thought was really interesting. The Kobayashi letter says 8,000 homes were listed for sale in Washington, D.C. and the metro area. Almost half of them have been put on the market in the last 30 days alone. So while the Democrats are melting down and they can keep crying and cursing and holding rallies, but as Charles Payne said in the previous hour, they're not listening. You've also got a swamp that's being drained, and these numbers are evidence of that. You're new in this hour, Jeff. What's your reaction?
Well, it's kind of an indication about how things have changed. I'm old enough to remember something called the Golden Fleece Award, which a Democrat senator from Wisconsin named William Proxmire started in 1975. And each month he would give an award to a government agency that was wasting our money. This went on for years. It was the Democrats that were doing this.
Bro, bring that back. I've never heard that in my life, bro. We need that. I want to give it to the IRS exclusively. Well, not exclusively. We can split it with the IRS, ATF, and the Bureau of Land Management. These three entities. Split it with them.
Now, I guess it's a couple of generations later, right? Now it's the Republicans that are taking the lead on it. And, I think arguably our government could have used a little bit of a shake-up. I don't know. You don't want to shake it too hard, but
no, shake it hard.
Yeah. Oh, you do. Oh, I know. Dagan wants to.
Yes, I want to
shake it hard.
Kevin, shake it until it doesn't feel good.
I remember the Fleece Awards. However, they didn't have social media in those days.
Right.
And so the message didn't get out as quickly as it's getting now, because it was always in the bottom of the story of the day. I remember that award. Yeah. But this is good stuff going on. I don't know why.
Yeah, bro, bring that back right now in the time of social media. That'll be brilliant.
Anybody would think it isn't. And it hasn't ever been done. And I think it's a wonderful idea that this money stays in the economy instead of being wasted, because it would make the whole country more productive. And that's really why everybody, I would bet you 7 out of 10 people on the street like what's going on in this cost-cutting stuff. And every day it's getting more interesting because they read the crazy stories. And they say, that's my money. I have $68,000 average salary, and I'm watching this. this is working. It's really interesting to watch it work.
In honor of
Guys, keep in mind that $68,000 salary, like median, includes a gigantic amount of people who are making billions. So the actual median income is nowhere near actual $68,000 if you do not account for like 100 millionaires, and billionaires. Guys, keep that in mind. That number is a little skewed.
Of Kevin O'Leary, because I know he's all about permitting reform. I think, Jackie, for me, DOGE goes a little bit step deeper. I think I love cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse, cutting the money, slashing jobs. But I think the next layer is going to have to be government working around red tape, because we all remember, and this is from the New York Times this morning, where they say passing a law is all great, but then you have companies are involved, agencies, you're applying for permits. How do you meet regulatory standards for construction, blah, blah, blah. It could be months or years before actual building of, let's say, a home or a new factory can actually start. You guys all remember more than 2 years after Congress enacted the $5 billion EV charging stations, there's just two, Ohio and New York, that have actually opened any. And in 3 years, only a number, dozens, have actually opened. That's well below the hundreds that they promised us. So I love DOGE and the cost cutting, but I also eventually want to see, how do we deal with the red tape? Keeping things safe with the permitting, but cutting the crap that takes years and years to go through to get anything done.
That $5 billion program specifically ran through the Department of Transportation, called the NEVI program. Only about, it's less than $700 million was sent out to the states. Sean Duffy sent out a memo saying we're putting a stop to this, so no more money goes out, and that any approvals that the states had submitted to the Department of Transportation, he has put the kibosh on them and said whatever approvals you submitted, we're putting pause on that. But you will hear, for example, Senator Tim Kaine talking about this is a war on veterans and the VA is slashing jobs. Be very careful, because the caterwauling and the shrieking, particularly by lawmakers who live in the kind of greater D.C. area, Charlie Hertz said this Friday, they're very concerned about those constituents losing their lunch money, so to speak, because 1,000.
Hey guys, I'm definitely going to go ahead and actually thoroughly research a statement that was just made. I generally don't agree or actually pay much attention, let's say, to what people are saying the first time, specifically if I've never encountered it. If jobs are being cut at the VA, that's interesting, but we're gonna find out and make a video about that, guys.
Jobs, probationary jobs, were eliminated last week at the VA. That is 0.2% of the VA's 450,000 people who work there. And it is only 2% of the total probationary number of employees. This every bureaucrat is sacred is absolute hog manure. And that is how we got into this situation that we're in now, where we have government so bloated and dysfunctional that it's just a complete waste of not only time, but our hard-earned money.
Absolutely. And I really think that people, we've said this time and time again, they voted for this. But the thing is, how do you keep it going? How do we ensure that after Donald Trump, even if he wins the court battles and even if Elon Musk is successful in what he's doing, that this becomes, a lasting part of American culture, I would call it.
I was thinking about that very thing. How do you make it function? How do you make it function after you right-size it?
I think it goes into the DNA of the electorate, and so they ask each party every time there's an election cycle, whether it be midterm or presidential election, what are you going to do for me on DOGE? What are you going to do for me to keep cutting? What are you going to show me that you stay productive? How are you going to make it even better? Because there's always fat on the chicken. There's always fat. And you can keep cutting all the time. I think it's a productivity tool that comes into the electorate forever. It's a very cool thing that's going on here. I think the outcome of this could be Trump's biggest legacy, that he let this happen.
DOGE.
Because whether you like him or you don't, no one's ever done this before.
No.
And I just, to insert and be a skunk at the garden party here, say that you got to do it carefully. I think scalpel, not machete, for a lot of this is important, because if you screw it up somehow and something does go wrong, like they fired some guys at the agency that controls the nuclear stockpile. They realized
that immediately had to rehire them back, guys. I mean, yeah. So I guess he's right in the instance. I would have said sledgehammer, but he said definitely a scalpel. Okay, yeah. For things like this, I mean, for the obvious things, we should not be looking to cut people from like obvious positions. The nuclear people, let's say, employees, yeah, they shouldn't have been cut, guys. There's a couple of them that should just not. Let's leave that alone for the safety of national security here, guys. Right?
Well, wait a minute. That we better not do that. Right. And they brought him back.
Immediately.
Do it carefully so that it's successful and it doesn't screw something up that jeopardizes the agenda going.
Probationary employees, because probationary employees don't have the civil service protections at this point.
Right.
So it's probationary employees. It's last hired, first fired, which these civil service protections essentially force anybody who wants to cut the chicken fat to do. And as Jackie Heinrich pointed out, HHS let 3,600 probationary employees go last week, but 4,000 were retained in areas like science research.
That's what I'm saying. Just, get it right.
I just go back to Elon Musk in the Oval Office from last week when he talked about, listen, we are going to make mistakes. We're being transparent about it. We have checks and balances internally where, the president's overseeing what they're doing and they're watching each other as well. And I appreciated that because it was honest. It was like, we're humans. Yes. We're trying to do something here. It's never been done before. Right. We will mess up, but we'll be on.
Obviously, guys, hold on. All right. I thought you were going to say something like deep and profound here. That wasn't the case. All right, so here's the thing, guys. They're definitely like 100% going to be, slight issues and slight downfalls and things like that are going to happen here, because this is, again, the first time this has happened. At what time have we actually made any type of solid attempt to hold the federal government accountable to themselves, guys, or to the actual people? The beginning of the United States of America? When? So now I definitely like the fact that we do have something. I definitely hope that this, this stays around for a really long time, because I do think that if the Democrats actually get back into office, the first thing that they're going to do is start dismantling a good amount of the things that were actually put in place to the benefit of the American people. Because I'm not sure that they themselves any longer are to the benefit of the entirety of the American people. But small niche subgroups instead, guys. It's a very segregationist mindset. You start to kind of realize when you look at the left, these days at least. Right? If you don't think the same way that I think, then you are absolutely evil, right? If you don't believe in the same thing that I believe, then you are absolutely evil. All of this moral superiority nonsense, guys. But I do definitely hope that DOGE continues to make waves. And basically weed out the individuals that are actually not for the American people, guys, and more so for themselves, guys. It's a blatant, glaring contradiction with Elizabeth Warren, in fact, guys. Right? Blatant. But all right. Listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll catch you later. The fact that you just made it to the end of the video says a whole lot, actually. We have a couple other channels. MrLboyd Music, MrLboyd Movie Reacts, along with MrLboyd Discusses, where I just generally speak about the things that specifically matter to me. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.